Hello friends, welcome to Intuites.
Let's begin the class.
Let me know if you're able to see both of you.
Yes, Samir.
Okay, so I think we have importing the schema. This is done for you guys. Is it done till this point? Okay, so I need to run it again. But,
Yeah, last class we complete circuit schema, structure field.
correct. That is done.
Yes, Samir. Name, string type, yeah.
Okay. So now we'll see how to select. Okay. So let's me insert a statement here, and I will put a percentage MD. I will get my selection of columns. So next we will see how to we are selecting the column. So to the selection, suppose you want to have, because in the my data frame I have multiple columns I have. Suppose I want to just select my required columns. So there are multiple ways to write it. The first way to write is this one. So like we will create a data frame, and out of the data frame will be there. We'll use a transformation called select, and inside that we can put in a double quote like lat, long, whatever may be the column name. Okay, so in a double quote. This is the first way to do the syntax. Make sense? That I
Yes,
think I
Samir.
select. Yeah.
Yes.
Another way to write the same thing, if I want, let me put it in back. Another one. Okay, so the same thing I will just copy here. And instead of doing this, and finally I will tell you what is the difference between all these things. So this time I will say, I'll take the data frame name as well. Okay, so I'll say circuit dot let. Okay, then I'll say dot long the way. Okay, so let's try to execute this. Say so, it will give you the required column. So in this case, what is the difference? You got it. In the first case, we are just putting all the columns in a double quotes. In the second way, we are saying that data frame dot column name, data frame dot column name. Okay, this is the second way to write the select. Make sense?
Yes, Samir.
Third way, another way. Suppose why I am giving all the syntax to you, because when you enter certain project, anybody can follow any syntax, right? So you should be aware of all the syntax. Another way is something like this. Instead of dot, they will put like this. Inside that, the square bracket, in a double quote, they will put the lat, and in the double quote, they will put long. Okay. So this is also another way to write the select. So the same data. Okay. So this is the first syntax, second, third. Okay. Fourth way, the last way. Okay. For the last way, I need to import one library that is called PySpark dot SQL dot functions. Then I want to import a call method. Here I want to import a call method. So here, then after that, once I imported this call method, suppose I want to write the statement again. I will say, instead of writing all this thing multiple time, I'll say select. Then I can use the call method. Call, then inside that I will say let, and I will say call column. Okay, now allow. Instead of writing multiple times, things I can use in this way as well. If I use so, you get the same result. So if you see, these are the four different versions of selecting this, and this. Okay, so for the first one, we are just giving in a double quotes. Second one, we are just giving this data frame dot column name, data frame dot column name. Second one is a data frame. Inside the square bracket, we are giving the column name. And finally, we are importing a function library called call. And we are saying that this call is nothing but the column. And we are selecting column, lat, long, and long. Makes sense? These are the four variations of the select. So, apart from the first one, okay, is the basic one. Apart from all the version, advantage is that on the select itself, when we are selecting, we can rename the column also. Okay, we can do the rename also. Okay, on all the three versions. So here, let's take, you want to rename this column along with the selection as well. So what I will do, column lat. Okay, I will say dot after this. I will put a dot method here. Dot alias. Sorry, not alias. And I will put inside that. I will say latitude, something like this. And even this also I will put as dot alias longitude. In one selection only, we are selecting the column along with the alias as well. If you run this method now, we'll get latitude and longitude. Along with the selection, we can do a rename. You can try this method also, not to the, just try it other ways. But my preferred way always is always go with the column, this call method. Why? Because this is more syntactically looking good, because call represents the column and what you are selecting from that. That's the way it should. Okay, make sense?
Yes, I mean, in first method, I can understand the difference that in first method we can't do the rename, and in
Mhm.
second method we can't use the space. For that we are using the third one. But why we are using the fourth column to mention the column? Because by taking square bracket
Where
also
you
it means it's column, right? Yeah.
where you are not giving the space,
Yeah, in dot in column name, if I'm giving two column names, I can't use the second one, right? So for that I can use the quotes in the second method.
this
If
one,
my if my column name is having space, I can't use that second one, right?
correct. I can do that.
Yeah.
Correct. That's
Yeah,
correct.
for that we are using the third method. So
Hmm.
for call to mention the column we are using the fourth one, right? So
Yeah. So this is more of a syntax. This is like a each and here what is happening. Each and every time we are putting the data frame, right? Data frame
yes.
name dot name, data frame name. So here that's what we are not by more of a, suppose you think like more of a syntax, like I don't want to put my data frame name. So that's another way. There is a call method like column. So we are saying that from the data frame, we are saying that these are the columns only for the data frame. We are saying that these are the columns of the data frame. So use the call method. That's it. As simple as
Okay,
that.
Samir. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Got it.
Yeah. And okay, so I will use this method. I will just remove it. This is not required for me. Even this is also not required for me. You can try it out other all the syntaxes, whichever is required for you. I will use this way. Okay, this is the way I will use it. So I want to use. I don't want to take the URL. So I will select only the circuit ID, circuit reference, name, and all this thing. So let's do that. Okay. So I can do an alias here, but this method I will show you. We can do it in alias, I showed you, but we will not do the renaming here only because rename transformation is another transformation we have. But it will not stop you to rename here itself. That we will do another ingestion type when where you require. Okay, but not now. On this one at least, we will not do. Okay, so let's select whatever is required. So the first I will say circuit ID, then it reference column, then name, then I will say location, we'll say call. This is the way we can select it. Okay, you can drop also, but later we'll see the drop as well. Okay, don't worry. But let's go with the approach. Okay. Call at long, then I can call alt. That's it. Okay, these are the, I don't want the URL to my implemented app. Let's execute this. Circuit ID is C small. They make a mistake for that. Is it? What's the
Spelling is wrong,
problem?
Samir. CIR,
Where?
circuit ID,
Okay.
CIR.
Oh, okay. And C should be capital, right? Yeah. Still some error is there. What is the problem?
Circuit reference cannot be resolved.
CIRCUIT. Oh, my mistake. Spelling mistake. CIRCUIT.
Capital R, reference capital R. R
Yeah.
was missing.
So now we have selected all the required, whichever is required for us, that we kept it. Okay. This is the selection method using the call. Fine. Now let's take the next one. We'll see rename columns. Renamed columns. So we'll try to rename the columns now. Okay, fine. So makes sense. Like circuit ID, I want to make it a circuit underscore ID. Circuit reference, I want to make it as a circuit underscore reference. Latitude, I want to make it as a latitude, long, and altitude. So latitude, longitude, and altitude. That's all the things I want to do it. Okay. So for the rename, okay, let's create a data frame here. I'll say circuit renamed underscore df equals to. Okay. So I will take the last data frame whichever is there. This is my circuit dot selected dot df because that is the one which I want to refer it. Sense? Correct. And we have a uh, transformation called with column renamed. This is the transformation we'll use to rename the particular column. Make sense? So the first one, I will say, we'll do like this. We'll put the next line here. Okay, space the. Now what I'll do here, first column I want to rename it. So the first name which I have is called circuit ID. This is the way it is there now. Circuit ID. Right. I want to just rename to circuit underscore ID. This is the way I want to. Okay, got it?
Yes, Samir.
Okay. Now the next line, I just put it this one. Again, I need to put dot with column renamed. With put it back again. With column renamed. Again, I will put my circuit reference. CIRCUIT circuit reference. I will say it would be reference. Okay. Then other things I don't want to change anything. It's not required. I want to change the latitude, longitude. Okay. So the next one will be lat. I will say latitude. Then I'll say long. It should be longitude. Make it a small only. Sorry. The reference should be good. Longitude. This is altitude. Correct? If all looks good, it should work. Okay, done. Now if I say display this method, what happened? Why my circuit ID is not changed? Okay, see the mistake we did it. The syntax, the spelling mistake. Okay, CIRCUIT ID. So this is the original column, right? Yeah. Now it should work. Circuit underscore ID, circuit reference, name, location, country, latitude, longitude, and altitude. Okay, this is the method which you'll use to rename the columns. Alright, did it make sense?
Yeah, Samir, if we give the wrong column name, won't it give throw the error?
It is not throwing error, rather than it is not doing it. It is keeping the same.
Okay, Samir. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So now this is, see, you should be, see, your notebook should be properly maintained. Okay, just make it a habit. Like the first one is reading the circuit from the CSV file. Then we are selecting the required columns, selection of the columns. Then we are saying rename columns. Then finally something. Okay. So next we will see MD. We'll say adding a new column. Adding a new column. So let's understand how we can add a column. So basically on this one, I want to add one more column called the insertion date. Insertion date in the sense, I just want to put a column where I want to put a date column where this data got inserted, and that I am taking as a today's date only. So let's take today's data only. This record got inserted to my table. That could be anything, but just for a sake, I want to say I want to ingest one date on this particular data frame that I want to put it as a insertion date, or it will be The insertion date column should be contain the data from current date only. What are the current date we have in my system that I want to insert it? Make sense? Okay.
Yes.
So yes, so the last one, what are the data frame I was having? So the display is not required. So you should be make clear of the things which is not required on your data frame. Okay. Whichever the command is here, also the display is not required because already we saw that. Here also display is not required. So your things are not to be neat and clean. Okay. Whatever is required, that is there. Yes. Now it looks good. So the last one which we did it, the data frame, that I will take it. The circuit dot rename dot df. And this is the final transformation which I am doing on this particular data frame. So I will say circuit final df. After this I will write back. Okay. So I will say circuit dot rename dot df. And for putting a new column, okay, into data frame, the transformation should be with column rename. Okay, remember with column and with column rename. With column renamed we saw it, and when you are planning to add a new column to data frame, we'll use the transformation called with column. Okay, and what my column should be? The column should be, I say, insertion date. Insertion date. And what could be the value for this? I want to say the current timestamp, whatever the timestamp we have right now, that I want to insert as a column. So I have a function called current underscore timestamp. Okay, timestamp. But this will not come directly. So for that, to use this function, the current underscore timestamp, we want to import this function. Okay, so let me import it. So I will say from Spark dot SQL dot functions import current underscore timestamp. You can import star directly, you can do that, but as long as I'm going, whatever is required, I'm just doing that. Okay. Now execute this. Now if I execute this, it should work. What happened? Current timestamp is not taken. Why? It should work now because I have imported this. Imported. And then it should work right. Current timestamp. Now this thing. Okay. Now I execute this. It is working. Now if I say this to display this one, the final one, if I inserted this, we'll get an insertion date here with the current timestamp, whatever may be. So current date for my date is right now it's 11th 9 2023. So that's what it is inserted. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So here I'm giving one more tip. Okay. So sometimes what happen is this is fine. We are inserting some columns. It can be anything. It can be any calculation or anything. We'll see in the future, in the sense how to do the calculation on this one as well. But here, sometimes what happens is we want to insert some columns. Like let's say this data is coming from let's take from a production database. Okay, neither from a dev, neither from a U18. It's coming from a production. So for the each and every row, I want to just put a literals called production, PRODUCTION, so that I can understand that okay, this data is coming from the production database, or I can put a database name as well, which database it is coming from. This is like a string literals. Okay, but when you start doing it, so this is the one with column we have done it. Okay, so this is the one with column. So I will give a space and comma. This is a with column one unit. So I will do one more with column. so that I can insert one more column to my literals. And I will say here, instead of inserting the date here, I will say it is which environment it belongs to. Okay, which environment it belongs to. So the environment is, let's take, I will say production. Are you getting what I'm doing here? Making sense? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I execute this, this will not work. Okay. Just remember this. It will throw an error because when you are inserting, saying that argument calls would be a column, go to str. Because normally this way, the declaring the string, it will not work in this case. So for that, we need to insert another function along with the current timestamp that is called literals. So I will say lit. There is a function called literals. So if I execute this and instead of writing like this, I will wrap it this inside my literal. This is a string literal now. Okay. Now if I execute this, what happened? This is not executed. Okay, sorry. This is comma is missing here. Now if I execute this and if I execute my data frame, I will get another column. Okay, here it is there actually not coming due to the zoom size. Okay, let me slightly shorten the size so that you can also see that. If you see here the environment column, you are seeing right hand column. Getting? So all data is coming as production. So whenever you want to write a column where you want to have some string literals like the constant strings, then we need to use the lit function. Lit. Lit stands for literals. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. But in this case, it is not required. So we will just remove it. I just want to show you that's what I kept it. Okay. Only we need the insertion date. And finally we are getting it. Okay. Now we are done. Now what our requirement was from the very first, our requirement was to read the data from this mount, from the raw mount, and put it into back to where? Where you want to put it? Hmm? Are you there, guys?
Yes, Samir.
So where you want to put it? Wait.
Back to the database.
Back to the database? No. We're planning to put it into back to the another container, right? To the processed.
Yes.
So the data will be on the raw and I want to put it into back to the processed. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's first of all understand that. So, okay, we'll see db utils dot fs dot mounts. Let's see the what are the mounts I have. Okay. Put it in display mode. So we have a raw presentation. We have then I have should be there should be a process also, right? It's not showing, but anyway, let me check. So I will say on data dot process pro name process. Yes. Oh, sorry, not mounts. Sorry. This is not the way. We will need to say dbutils dot ls fs dot ls no, dot fs dot ls arrow yeah. So it is there, but there is no data under that. So now we will write it. Okay. So now what I will do, I will take my final data frame whichever is there. Then I will use the write method dot. So whichever format I want to write it, we need to use it. So we read it in a CSV format, but I want to write it in a Parquet format. So as I told you, in a Parquet format, this is very much handy for the data engineerings, data science, whatever the format I have, because it's a more like a complex file and it will be give you a good performance. So I will say Parquet. So I will use the Parquet format here. So where I want to park here. So I will use the method here, this one, the processed, okay, and I will use a folder directly here, okay. So I will say circuits. So this is not there inside that, but when it execute, it will create the folder, and inside that, the part file will be available. Let's see. Makes sense? Up to here, it is okay.
Yes, Samir.
Okay. Now I am writing this. Then now, if I go to my process, if I refresh it, see, it's created a folder which was not earlier, but we are given the folder, it got created. And inside that, if you go here, there will be one part file will be there. So this is the, I will explain this. So this is the Parquet file. Wherever there are some partition files will be there. Since we are working on a single cluster, right? If you know, my cluster are on a single node, right? If you have a multiple node, the same file will be distributed across different partition based on the size. Okay, but this is the first file. This is my partition file. And we are done with this file. Okay, now the only problem here is that if I execute somehow one more time the same write method, if I want to execute one more time, if I enter it somehow, it will throw me an error. Why? Because it is saying that the file is already exists. Yes, it is already exists. It is not able to do that. Okay. So for that, we need to use a method inside this case called, before to the Parquet, I can say mode. Mode is, I will say, override. Whatever the is available, please overwrite, then create the new one. So if you use this mode as override, when you are writing the data, then there will be no error because it will each and every time it will just overwrite the data. Okay, making sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So this is the way, and let me just remove it. This is the way we have done it from the start requirement of the circuit files. Okay. Based on this, you will go to your workspace. You are maintaining a proper workspace, right? the folders and all properly? This
Yes,
is for the
Samir.
ingestion of the circuit files. Okay. Now I will create another notebook here and I will rename this as ingestion of RSS file. There is a REST file also there that we want to ingest now. Okay. But this I will not do it because the same thing we need to do it there as well. Okay. Only thing is, let me just let me take you to the file first. Utils dot first mounts. So this is an exercise for you guys to do it. This for this file at least. I'll show you what the file is all about. Okay, let's see. dbutils dot ls and get the raw mount is already there. Mount is already there. So let's say this one I'm talking about. Yeah. So this file, the rss.csv, this file. Okay. So let's display on this file. Okay. Let me. Okay. You need to read this, right? So let me read this file. Let me first copy this file and let me run this. I will say s underscore df spark dot read dot csv, right? Correct, na?
Yes.
Is it correct? Yeah. So you can put some other option also. The schema, import schema, all these things you can use it. But just I'm just reading this, okay, so that I can show you the data. Okay. Now I'll say display s underscore df. Correct. Now if I will get, okay, heading is problem. You can do that. All things you know that, right? So here the basically same thing we need to do it. First note it down what exactly we need to do it here. So the first thing is the header footer everything is fine. Just I will tell you the proper example. I will noting down.
Yes, Samir.
Okay. So the first thing is the race ID should be race underscore ID. Okay. And year should be race underscore year. Circuit ID would be circuit underscore ID. Then we need a new column as well, just like the last one, the insertion date. Okay. Done.
Yes, Samir.
And the data type wise, the race ID will be integer for the schema I am saying, for the struct field. So the race ID is integer, year is integer, round is integer, circuit ID is integer, name is string, date is date, date type. Okay. And time, actually in Spark, normally we don't have any time to handle it. Okay. So make it the time as a string, leave it as a string. Then once you've done that, then I will tell you how to convert that string to a timestamp later. Okay. But first of all, till this point, you need to do it. So make it time as a string only. Okay. Making
So
sense?
Samir, yeah, Samir, we have to change ID is race underscore ID and year is race underscore year and circuit ID circuit underscore ID and we
Correct.
have to add new column insert date.
Correct.
Yeah, that's it.
And each and every data type, whatever the data type, I'm just saying it. The race ID will be integer, year will be integer, round will be integer, circuit ID will be integer, name will be string, date will be the date type, and make the time as a string only. Okay, and URL as
Okay, sir.
also string. String. One second.
Samir, for this one year also we can take date type, right?
1 minute. One
But
minute. Anita. Sorry, Anita, you are asking something.
yes, Samir. What I'm asking is, for the year also, instead of integer, does it not work if you take the date
No,
date
this is
format?
year is only a 2009-10. No, how this never will be a date, right?
Okay.
There is no date party to this. Only the string only. Year I will make it as integer only, or you can use the string as well, but make it as integer. Okay, but make sure the time should be string. Okay, so that we can later it will convert into a timestamp, because in PySpark there is no data type called time actually. We have the integer, double, date type we have, but there is no timestamp. So better to like start as a string, then later we'll convert into a timestamp. Okay, make sense? You will do it right.
Yes, Samir.
So yeah, so this is the task. We want to just finish it off before to the next class. So this is the way, and I will let you know how after your time is becoming a string, then I will let you know how we can convert this into a timestamp. That I can do it. Okay, making sense?
Yes, Samir.
Samir, I have one doubt. Like for the insertion date that we have used one current timestamp, right? So for
Hmm.
that one, like that one, for any kind of calculations,
Yeah, we can do that.
are we going to
Well,
discuss it in future? Okay.
yes. Through the with column only we can do it, but we can write any formula instead of let's take you have a two columns in the data frame. Let's take price into unit. So that same thing I will say sales. I will just define after that price into unit. Simple. There is no rocket science there. Instead of with that transformation, we will use the with column only. But instead of the putting current Samsung, we can put the formula. Anything. It could be lowercase, uppercase, whatever you learn, we can do that. Anything we can do that. Okay. And finally, on the RSS file, please uh, write it in a Parquet format only. Just like the circuit file. Finally, end of the product, RSS file also would be put it as back to the process folder here. Okay. So one step back. Where is that? Okay. How can go one step? Okay, I can close it. So here, suppose if you go here, the end product should be looks like this containers. If I go to my process folder, there will be a circuits. Another folder should be there called a RASes. So inside that, the file should be there in a Parquet format. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So if this is done, then I will explain you. This is two CSV file we are done. And now we have another JSON file also there. So how we can like read the JSON file and multiple JSON file, all these things we'll see it. Okay, we can do that, right? This I think this would be works right for you. The same transformation we just need to follow up on the circuits. Okay, is anybody join apart from you both, or you are the two only? All right. Okay, that's okay. You want to continue, or you want to do this and come back tomorrow?
Okay, Samir, we'll come back tomorrow.
Okay, fine. So take this data and just read it and write it. Fine? All
Yes.
right. Yeah, this will be a good exercise to start up. Okay. All right. So let's meet tomorrow then.